Hey, what's happening, everyone? Let's do us a live stream here. Looks like we're live. So hey, we market's been pretty good here. I want to run down some of the things that are going on. Gold's doing well, silver's doing well, Bitcoin's doing well, all the way up until today, anyway. So let's jump right into it, check things out, see what's going on. Don't really have anybody in here at the moment, but let's see what we've got going on. Let me just do some checking here, make sure the stream is running. I believe it's running. Let me check one thing here real quick. See if we've got any people live in here yet. Yep, looks like we are live. It's good. We are live. Good deal. Glad to see it. Anyway, let's jump right into it. Appreciate your patience there. Just wanted to make sure we were cruising along. I had to get the control panel up and running. I'm kind of new to the live streaming part. Up till now, I've only done one other live stream, and the rest have been pre-recorded. So let's jump into it. I'll get better at this as it goes on. Looking at the market here. Hey, we've had a big dip today. It's to be expected. Market's been doing pretty good, but it's not up and to the right forever. So just looking down through here, we've been in red this morning. Not too bad. I mean, we're at 121 Bitcoin. We got up, I believe, to 126. So, it's a little volatility, but, we're okay. Not a big deal. You can see here we, took a little look at, market makers. They're trying to flush people out because the whales want to buy it cheaper, right? So They'll do that. They'll play games to try to get you to the paper hands, as they say, the retail, try to get them out of here. But just stay patient. It's only been a day, not even a day. So just it's all good. We're good. Not a problem. So yeah, looking at the bubbles here, these crypto bubbles. Most everything's in the red. We've got a few BNB, Pancake Swap, a few others here that are in the green, but most everything is in the red. Let's look at for the week, the big winners for the week. Aster, BNB. This BNB is interesting. Wow, BNB under the radar, but starting to really breaking all-time highs. I'm going to talk about that here in a second, but for the week, still looking good. Even though today's not good, we're still, there's today, there's week. Hey, we're still doing all right. So looking at the bull run peak indicators, the bull market peak indicators, just refreshing this, hey, we're still in a holding pattern. We're not all of these here in hit or not. We're all red still, and you can see the indicator right here saying that we're still hold. So until some of these start hitting green, it's same deal. We're not quite there yet. Not quite there. So here, crypto saw an inflow of nearly 6 billion last week, largest weekly inflow in history. This is huge crypto assets flows. We saw an inflow of nearly 6 billion last week, largest weekly inflow in history. Yeah, I mean that's big. It's gonna keep climbing, keep growing. That's what we want to see. That's a big deal. So that's big news. Then we've got a bunch of big ETFs about to hit, guys. A bunch of them any day now. As you can see, this is the list that's coming out of crypto ETFs that are going to be hitting the market on the stock exchanges. on the NASDAQ. So what this means is what I've been saying. We've got a convergence of TradFi and the new model, the new digital asset model. And so this last column over here is the big one. As you can see, these are the final deadlines. So we've already got the Bitcoin ETF. We already have the Ethereum ETF. So some of the big ones that are coming are Solana. Those are coming here in just a few days. A bunch of VanEck, Grayscale, CoinShares, 21 Shares, Canary, Bitwise, Franklin, Fidelity. The Solana, so TradFi is going to be able to buy Solana spot ETF. They don't necessarily have to go buy the actual Solana. You'll be able to invest in it right from your brokerage account. That's huge. Others that are hitting XRP, Doge, Cardano, Hedera, HBAR, Polkadot. What do we have in here? Avalanche, Sui, Chainlink. You can see the whole list in here of all of these coming down. So some of these are going to be a little later, but what the SEC will probably do is just hit all of these at once. So we're going to be flooded with all sorts of crypto ETFs hitting the market. So look out for that. If you're into this, but you're not really you want to invest in it, but you want to invest in it more traditional means, this is a great way to do it. Bitcoin ETF inflows, huge, guys. The last few days, look at this. 970 million BlackRock has bought in the Bitcoin ETFs. Fidelity, 112 million. So these are huge numbers on the 3rd. We don't have, obviously today's the 7th. We won't have these till the end of the day. But look at this. BlackRock, 970 million, 791 million, 466 million, 405 million. This is going just in the first of the month, 199 million. These have all been inflows. So retail has been buying Bitcoin, buying it big time through the ETFs. Fidelity, same thing. Look at all these, 112, 69 million, 89. So all of these are all the ETFs by ticker across the top. So yeah, people are buying. You can see down here we had a couple red days, but for the most part, people are acquiring Bitcoin through the ETFs. I thought this was interesting here. Bitcoin on the exchange balances. I've been talking about this. We're going to have a supply shock with Bitcoin on exchanges is dwindling. Look at this, the price of Bitcoin going up, but look, the balance of Bitcoin on exchanges going down and down and down and down and down. And the trend has been going down. So with all the institutional buyers and all the retail buyers, investors taking the stuff off the market, pretty soon there won't be any in bulk to buy. And so what will that do? It'll drive the price up. So thought that was a pretty interesting, here's a Bitcoin wallet inflow, outflow. The inflow, money going into wallets as opposed to money leaving wallets. Usually it's a good sign when people are taking money off, or taking their Bitcoin off the exchanges and putting it into their wallets. That means they're hodling, they're saving, they're holding their Bitcoin. If it's leaving their wallets going on to exchanges, that means that they're probably looking to sell it. So that's a good sign there. Saw this post, Bitcoin broke 126,000, but Google search volume is less than 50% of what the 2021 levels are. Retail's asleep. Yes, that is true. Retail is not here yet. Hey, they'll come in, they'll FOMO in, they'll eventually show up. So if you're in it now, you're in it early. Paul Tudor, billionaire Paul Tudor, says Bitcoin is digital gold. Yeah, a lot of people say that, but he thinks that this thing's going much, much higher. Like I say, guys, I've been telling you, you need to get whatever Bitcoin you can, whatever you can afford to invest in. It's probably not a bad idea to get it. Bitcoin, gold, silver, all of these assets. There's a reason why people are acquiring these assets, and we'll talk more about that here in just a minute. JP Morgan, Standard Chartered predict Bitcoin to hit 165K to 200K in this quarter alone. That's not in 5 years. That's not 10 years. We're in Q4 right now, Q4, October, November, December. They're expecting that Bitcoin's going to hit 165 to 200. These are major financial institutions in the United States. They're saying that. That doesn't necessarily mean it's going to happen, but it's, hey, there's a lot of people saying this. It might come close, but what's really the reality here is it's going higher. You can plan on that. So if you've got a long-term mindset, keep that in mind. Ethereum, it's also 4,700. So it's going up as well. So it's following right behind Bitcoin here. And it just keeps on rolling up with Bitcoin. So I just thought that if you're paying attention, you already know this. And then here, this is the Ethereum ETFs go in line with the Bitcoin. Of course, not the same amount of volume as Bitcoin. Obviously, Bitcoin's a bit much bigger than Ethereum, but still 14.8 million and the grayscale. And then we come down here and BlackRock, 92 million. BlackRock's the biggest of Bitcoin and the Ethereum ETFs. Fidelity 23, they're typically second. Bitwise is up there as well, but a grand total 176 million. And then on the 3rd of October, 233, and on the 2nd, 307. So we're going up. Good sign there. All right, next. This is the dollar reserve currency dominance is declining. U.S. dollar share of the world's central banks' reserves fell 1.5 percentage points in Q2 of 2025 to 56.3%, the lowest since 1994. Since 2000, this percentage has declined by 16 points. By comparison, the U.S. dollar reflected 85% of global reserves in 1977. At the current pace, the dollar's weight could drop below 50% within 5 years. For context, the euro represents 21% of the Chinese yuan, 5.5% of global reserves. Inflation is causing a currency confidence crisis. You want to know why people are going into Bitcoin? You want to know why people are going into gold? You want to know why people are going into silver? You want to know why people are going into these hard assets? Here's why. This is a reason why. So, the dollar is losing dominance. You got the BRICS nations, you got China, you've got Russia, you got Brazil, you've got India. All of those countries are ganging together. They're coming together. Why are they coming together? Because they're tired of the United States controlling the world's currency. And so that's why they're doing it. We just can sanction them on a moment's notice because the U.S. dollar has been the dominant currency throughout the world. So that's why you're seeing this happening. So I thought that was pretty interesting to share with you guys. Here's another one here. When everything is at all-time high, you ask yourself something: what has changed? Safe haven, risky assets, real estate, crypto, global bond yields, and everything in between, and is hitting daily record highs. The denominator for most assets in this case is the U.S. dollar is what has changed. The U.S. dollar is on track for its worst year in 40 plus years, down 10% year to date. On my last walk and talk video, I talked about how we've lost 10%. The U.S. dollar's lost 10% in just this year alone. It's crazy, absolutely crazy. Not only is the numerator going up, the intrinsic value of assets, but the denominator is going down. So you have the intrinsic value of assets going up, but you then have the more paper. So the assets are perceived to be going up. They're really not going up. It's just we have more paper. So it receives that it's all perception. So confidence in fiat currencies is at a multi-decade low. Position accordingly. Yeah, exactly right. The truth is all fiat currencies die. What is a fiat currency? United States dollar, Canadian dollar, the Mexican peso, any currency that a country uses as their primary currency. Those are called fiat currencies. They all eventually fail and die. Why? Because the government gets overzealous. They print more and more. They print They print the ones in power. They print themselves to riches, and then it ends up failing. They go into massive debt. It ends up the dollar collapses, and then what you have? You have nothing. Just go ask Argentina. Go ask Venezuela. Go ask some of those countries how their fiat currency is working out, and they'll tell you not very good. Let's see. Next up, yeah, here again, U.S. dollars lost 10% of its value this year. That is crazy, guys. I mean, in the last 5 to 6 years, it's lost 80% of its value. 80, and here we are again, 10%. Look at this comment. We need a better system soon, or something is going to break. You think? Pivot to crypto. Yeah, no kidding. And that's what's happening. Something's going to replace it. Something always does. People think it's gold. Maybe. There's probably some of that. Crypto, Bitcoin, yeah, probably. Maybe some of that. Silver, yes. Precious metals, sure. It'll probably be many things will have value. It won't be just one. I think you may see multiple things that will tend to diversified value, I think is what you'll see. Thought this was interesting. The Intercontinental Exchange, the parent company of the New York Stock Exchange, is making a $2 billion strategic investment at a $9 billion post-money valuation into Polymarket. That's pretty big. That's a huge investment into Polymarket. If you're not really sure what Polymarket is, we'll do this and go to Polymarket. Polymarket here is I don't know why it's one. Yeah. So here you can see, well, the government shut down. So these are, you can see here, what are the odds of the government shutting down? And you can basically, yes is 2.3. So this is actually a smart contract that it's a contract that you can make. And it's basically betting odds, essentially, of when will the government shutdown end and how long it will end. And then you can see what are the odds of that by October 15th, by November 15th. And so that's what Polymarket is. So there's been a big investment in that as of this morning. I saw that. So huge. Next up, S&P has launched Digital Markets 50 Index, provide diversified exposure to Bitcoin and crypto. Very bullish. You're going to start seeing more and more and more crypto in the TradFi. It's the convergence. More and more is going to come in. It's inevitable. It's going to converge together. It's all going to end up being one. So I don't know if you guys have noticed this, but BNB has overtaken Tether, the stablecoin Tether, and XRP. We go here. You'll see here it was at 5th. And it jumped Tether, and it jumped XRP, and now is the third largest cryptocurrency by market cap. You can see right here, actually, let me refresh it. It's actually had a little bit of jockeying around. So Tether just passed XRP, and that's probably because there's been some selling off today, and they're selling off into stable coins, into Tether. So that would explain why there's a $5 billion change there just in this morning alone. So you can see actually Tether just took back the number 3, but it's not reflecting here on CoinMarketCap. But it did surpass it. And look, to think that this was at 1,336. And let's just look at the chart of BNB. BNB, I tell you, has been a sleeper. Not really many people talk about it, and I don't hold any of it, but it's I think CZ has a lot to do with it, and he's the guy behind it, has been for the longest time, and he is pumping it by talking about it. So interesting. Doesn't get a lot of press, but man, the price sure does reflect it. So big deal there. Covered this, yeah, taking over. And more BNB news. BNB chain tops all blockchains in 24-hour fees, followed closely by Hyperliquid and Solana. So a lot of people are using BNB chain right now. I don't use it. I've used it a few times, and it was a few years ago. Haven't used it here lately. In the past, I'm going to say 2.5 years. But yeah, and it's interesting to look down through here. Ethereum, Base. These are, this tells you the chains that are getting the most use, essentially. If the fees kind of goes one in one, the fees are up there, then typically the usage of the chain is higher. So yeah, big news. The White House wants to pass the crypto market structure bill this quarter. That's big. They were hoping to have it by now. They got the Genius Act passed, which was big. So you can't get it all done in a day. So they're hoping that this will be done by the end of the year, and it's very bullish for crypto. Switching gears a little bit to AI. Noticed here that when NVIDIA announced its big investment into AMD, I guess it was yesterday. Look at this. AI bubble skyrocket. These are Google searches for AI bubble after the deal. So people are searching, are we in an AI bubble? It's hard to say. People are saying this is like the .com bubble. You've heard me talk about how I was in the .com bubble. That's where my career started, just before that took off. And this is not the same as that. We may have a big pullback, but as far as a complete and utter crash, I don't think so, because these businesses are real businesses with real cash flow and real customers. I don't think you're going to see a complete meltdown. We may see a good pullback, but to compare it to the .com bust is really, I don't see it as being the same. And when you have we still have a high need for chips and processors. That's not changing. Now, there could be an issue with the electricity demand. It could be a problem with the electricity. And do we have enough to sustain? There's a lot of data centers going up right now across the country. I think that's a big push. They're piling up data centers left and right. And that's great. You can build the data centers, but do you have enough electricity to power them? I think, if you've seen my videos, technology always wins. I think that if there's a need, then we'll find a way. We'll have a way. We'll get the electricity one way or the other. The only thing is creating electricity. You don't do that in a few minutes. It takes time to build nuclear plants and all the stuff you need to create electricity. You don't do it overnight. So that we could run into a little bottleneck as AI demand increases. So then OpenAI, ChatGPT, the company behind, or the business behind ChatGPT, they're dumping money hard into it. They put $100 billion investment into NVIDIA. They now have a 10% ownership in AMD. They're after those chips. They need that processing power. $500 billion in Stargate investment, and they have a $500 billion valuation. Still owned by how is it still owned by a nonprofit parent company? That's a good question. So this okay, here, are we in a U.S. market bubble grown to historic levels? U.S. stock market cap to M2 money supply ratio has crossed above the 300% for the first time since the 2000 .com bubble peak. In other words, the market is now more than 3 times larger than the liquid money in the economy. This is mind-blowing. Well, as we've said, how does this happen? When you print more paper, this is what happens. It's not necessarily that the value of the assets got higher. It's just that you pumped more money in the system and you've increased. It just takes more of that paper to acquire those assets. So it's not really a one-to-one comparison. There's a reason why this has happened. It's just not because these just miraculously became more valuable. It's because people have a lot more money and they're willing to throw more money or paper at the assets, right? So we talked about that earlier in the stream here. S&P saw this article, thought it was interesting. So this I kind of get a chuckle out of this. S&P continues to notch new highs. Where to invest in case of a pullback? And basically, what this article is saying is, if so you go into stock or tech stocks, right, in these high risk assets, And if you want to de-risk, right, the kind of the what you would have done typically is you would go into S&P and you would go into dividends, and you would, take cash off the table and go into money market. Well, the money market interest rates are going down. So what this article is basically saying is there's really nowhere to go unless you take it out in cash and then you leave the market. So they're saying that we've kind of blocked ourselves into a corner where not only are the tech stocks and the Magnificent Seven and all that stuff gone up, but if you left that to go to more safe haven investments, okay, well, those are also inflated too. So, diversifying across the board, is probably not a bad idea, because even the S&P, if you're in SPY or VOO or IVV, I mean, I've got some VOO, not a lot of it, but I tend to be, as you guys know, more on the high risk side. But yeah, it's kind of like all of that stuff has gone crazy too. So, where do you go? Where do you go? So I thought this article was pretty a chuckle. They basically wrap it up. Well, okay, yeah, well, you leave that one's so inflated too. So maybe cash. So yeah, I would say that taking profits is a good thing. Having some cash on the side nobody ever got hurt taking profits, right? But you don't want to take yourself completely out of the market, because what if the market goes up another 10, 15, 20%? But you do want to take some money off the table. I've taken profits here recently. Why not? Yeah. And why would you do that? So when the market does go down, you can now go in and buy that stuff when we have hit a bottom, or when whatever took us down there, whenever we recover from that, we go back up. Things are better. So no one ever got hurt taking profits. So if you feel like you're overexposed, then go take some profits. I did not long ago. I felt that, hey, I've got profits. Let's just take a little bit off the table. It never hurt anyone to do that. So, I thought here, switching gears here, I've been in real estate for 20 years of my career. Been in tech and real estate. And I thought, change it up a little bit here at the end. I saw this article, that most of the buyers and sellers of real estate have been investors, either institutional investors or retail investors. So this basically says that either real estate investors, both individual and institutional, bought 1/3 of all single-family residential properties sold in the second quarter of 2025. So 1/3 of the buyers of residential real estate properties were in the second quarter were basically investors. That's pretty crazy to think. So, and then here it says that that is an increase 27% from the first quarter, and the highest percentage in the last 5 years. So institutional investors are selling more homes than they buy, and have been for 6 consecutive quarters. So yeah, that's why we are having a affordability crisis of home ownership in this country, because investors flocked in and they were buying, whether it be institutional or retail. They bought properties low, right? Rode them up, rode the value of them up, and then now they're looking to sell, and in some cases they're dumping them to get whatever they can out of the property. But in those that did get out at the peak, now they're waiting for a bottom, or they're looking to bottom, so they're getting in on distressed properties to get back in. So, and I saw someone say in an X post also this morning that they blamed the institutional or the real estate investors for the housing crisis that we're currently in this country, which I wouldn't necessarily say blame them for it. I mean, it's not just their fault. I mean, we're all creatures of greed and fear, right? When things are going up, we're all equal opportunity. We all, when there's an opportunity, we all run for it, right? And we're all the same way when we're fearful in the market. So I wouldn't necessarily say that it's their fault, because I saw a lot of just people that were looking during the pandemic when things were not going, when we were having issues in the country and people were wanting to get out. I mean, people were buying real estate left and right. So it's not just the investors. It's also private individuals that are looking to relocate, that are looking to make a change, and they are trying to front run the real estate market. And so they were having FOMO too. So it's not just the real estate investors, it's the retail buyers and sellers of real estate too. And according to this, you could say it's 3/4 of them, 2/3 to 3/4 of them were part of the problem as well. So you can't really put the blame 100% on the institutional or the retail real estate investor as it being their fault, as in solely their fault. So, but anyway, I just thought wrapping that up here was, this stream today with that article was pretty interesting. So, I appreciate you guys tuning in today. I see we've got a couple on. If you got any questions in the chat, drop them in here. Be glad to answer them for you. See what I can. Hit me with some questions, guys. If you're tuning in a little late, we're just talking about the crypto market, the regular TradFi market, as well as a little bit of AI here at the end, and real estate. For those of you who don't know, I've been in, since I graduated college in 1996, I've been tech ever since. Been a tech entrepreneur, started a few tech companies over these years, and then since the mid-late 90s, 20 of those years have been involved in real estate. I also built a land-based real estate portal over those years, so that was very successful. Built it from the ground up, from nothing. And so I've had my hands in. I've also been a real estate agent and sold a lot of land, real estate back in the day. I don't really dabble in it much anymore, but if you have any questions, hit me with them. I'd love to do a little Q&A if you've got it. I see we've got a few people on here right now. Love to get a little engagement if we can do it. Channel's growing, guys, and I appreciate it. Putting a lot of effort into getting this going, trying to see what you guys like, what you don't like, sharing my insights with you. I've got a lot of years of experience, about to be 20. I wish I was 20. I was about to be 52 here next month. So I've been around a long time in this space. So as far as tech and real estate, so investing in just not only the TradFi traditional equities, but also in crypto for the past 5 years. So I've been in tech. I've been in crypto for 5 years. I've been in tech for 35 years. 35 years. I've been in real estate for 20 of those years, and I've been in crypto for 5 of those years. And, I love crypto. I think it's the future. I think if you're a Gen X or you're a millennial, I think this is, and millennials probably already in it. I know a lot of millennials are in it, using it already, but I think the Gen Z is really going to take it off, and Gen Alpha even more so. So I've got 2 Gen Z kids, and it will definitely be their future. And they actually invest in crypto. They've been invested in it for a few years now, and have done really, really well with it. So if you're a Gen Z and you happen to be watching this, or if you're a Gen X and you've got kids, or a millennial and you've got young kids coming up, teach them about how to, and if you're into crypto, or even if you're not, just go try to get a little bit of Bitcoin and learn the basics. Don't try to bite off more than you can chew. Just just stick with Bitcoin and try to get a little bit of Bitcoin. Buy the dips and DCA, dollar cost average in on the dips, and you'll be glad you did later, especially if you're young. If you're really young, just a little bit of Bitcoin now. When you're older, you will thank yourself for doing it. So highly, highly recommend getting into buying and investing in some Bitcoin. And look, I've been buying some gold and silver here lately, the real thing, not just investing in it, on the stock market. I want the real thing. So I've been trying to acquire some gold and silver, try to get some of that too. I don't really know what gold and silver is going to do here. I think it's going to my personal opinion is it's going to keep going up. I don't necessarily believe we'll have dips and drawdowns, but will we see $1,000 gold again? Probably not. Will we see silver go down to what it was a few years ago, 3, 4, 5 years ago? I don't tend to think so. Especially with all the money that's printed now, these numbers, when you print 12, 15 trillion dollars. So let's see, the big beautiful bill created about $5 trillion. And then before that, the pandemic, we printed 7 trillion. That's 12. Let's just round it up, call it $15 trillion in the past 5 years. I mean, that's almost half of our national debt. It's at 37 trillion now. It might even be at 38 trillion. And then you tack the interest on top of that. The United States government is in a situation where they're trying to print themselves out of debt, and you just can't catch up. All you're doing is just a snowball effect. You're just compounding the issue more and more. And there's some out there, including Cynthia Lummis, a senator from Wyoming. She tends to believe the only way we're going to get out of this issue is from Bitcoin. Having a Bitcoin reserve. And I know that the United States government has 200,000 that they hold now. And I know they want it. Trump signed an executive order to have a Bitcoin reserve. I don't know if we've acquired it. It wouldn't surprise me if we have been acquiring it. We just don't know about it in order to not affect the price. Or we could have a third-party buyer of it, a secret buyer of the Bitcoin for the government that we just don't know about yet. That would not surprise me one bit. That we are acquiring it, basically OTC, which stands for over the counter. There's been a lot of question with people that say, well, how is it that all these people are buying all this Bitcoin? Michael Saylor and all these institutions and BlackRock, or all these big time investors, these big institutions are buying all this Bitcoin. Why isn't Bitcoin skyrocketing? Well, the way they buy it is they buy it OTC, which stands for over the counter, meaning that they don't just go and market buy Bitcoin because they don't want to affect the price. They would be that would be counterintuitive to them. They would be running the price up against themselves, right? They don't want to do that. So what they'll do is they'll say they want to buy $100 million worth of Bitcoin, right? They'll go to the places where they know that they have bags of it. So who is that? That would be places like Coinbase. That would be places like Kraken. That would be your exchanges. All your major exchanges, they have piles of it in reserve. So they'll go to them backdoor and they'll work a deal. And they'll say, hey, we want to buy, 1,000 Bitcoin or, however many, $100 million worth of Bitcoin. And so they'll look at the current market price and they'll do a deal and they'll put the money in escrow and they'll do the deal. And so here's the money. And sometimes they may have a third party that'll broker the deal on behalf of both entities. And that's how it happens. And they'll just agree on a strike price. So sometimes the price will be higher than the actual market price. Sometimes the price will be lower than the actual market price, depending on when they negotiated the deal. And a lot of it has to do with the volatility of Bitcoin, because it can move. I mean, look at what just happened. We were just at $126,000 here just recently, like a day ago. We just hit it, and now we're down. Where are we at now? Let's see what we're at. We're at 122. So we're starting to bump back up, guys. Look at BNB. BNB is starting to climb. Here, let's go put it on this chart. So yeah, Bitcoin, so we're at 122. But each one of these candles, I'm on the hourly chart. So it's just been so we're probably about a day ago. So we hit a new all-time high at just 126 and some change. It's like 126.5-ish. Let's see what CoinMarketCap says that we hit for an all-time high right here. 126. Let me refresh it. 126.2 pretty much. And that was yesterday. So pretty interesting. And I think most people think that we're going to clear 150. I think that's inevitable, that's going to happen. So, we'll see. Well, all right, guys, I'll wrap it up. If we don't have anybody in here, no questions, I'll go ahead and wrap the stream up today. I appreciate you guys tuning in. I'm trying to figure out a good schedule to do these live streams. The walk and talks, you guys seem to like those. It's a little bit more informal, a little bit relaxed. I like it too. I get to walk around. I'm trying to lose weight, and I'm not running a marathon when I do the walk and talks, but at least I'm getting some steps in. I'm not power walking or anything by any means, but at least I'm moving around. And the weather here in Tennessee right now, I'm just kind of looking out the window right now. It's not the best. We've had some rain, but we've been pretty lucky here the last month of a lot of sun. So I've been outside and filming, and I like to do the walk and talks. I like to get outside because I spend a lot of time behind computers, being a tech guy and what I do. So it's nice to get outside and walk and do the walk and talks, and you guys seem to like the walk and talks too. So but these live streams, when we get into these wintertime months coming up, we can have some pretty brutal winters here in Tennessee. Not as bad as you folks up north in the Midwest or Northeast. But anyway, we can get some pretty cold ones. So I don't know how I'm going to do a walk and talk when it gets brutally cold, or if we get some ice or snowstorms. But I'll try to squeeze them in on good days. But I wanted to start getting some live streaming going to fill the gaps. And let me know in the comments what you think's a good time to do live streams. And is it the morning, midday, afternoon, evening? And I'll try. You want every day, every other day. I'm going to try to come up with a schedule and try to stick to it, and try to get some sort of pattern going here, fill the gap in. But anyway, about 42 minutes in, pretty long stream today. I appreciate you guys for tuning in. Do me a favor, like, subscribe to the channel. Gen X Guy out. See ya. Bye.